Aloran had once been a shining jewel in the galaxy. Its cities had glittered with crystal towers and bright lights, ships from many worlds had come to trade, and the air had been filled with music, laughter, and excitement. But that was a long time ago. Now, the red star that gave life to Aloran was dying. Its light was weak, and its warmth was fading. The once green forests were brown. The rivers had dried, and the air was thin and bitter. The people of Aloran moved slowly and carefully, their fragile bodies struggling in the higher gravity as the planet's last days approached. In the largest city, which sat under a cracked dome to protect it from the dying world's storms, the council met in silence. The crystal walls of their hall had been repaired too many times, and cracks ran across the floors like veins. Sereth, the leader, looked at the faces around him. He was a thin man, with silver hair and tired eyes. The other council members, older and younger, all looked worried. They knew that help from the galaxy would not come. The world's distress calls had been ignored for months. Messages had been sent to every major power, but none answered. Only raider clans had replied, offering ships in exchange for slaves. Sereth's daughter, Lyra, stood at the edge of the hall. She had large, dark eyes and long hands. She moved nervously, but her voice was clear. "We cannot give ourselves to slavery," she said. "There must be someone out there who will help us. Someone who will see our danger and not take advantage of it." The council murmured, but no one spoke up. Lyra took a deep breath. "We must try one last time. We must send a message to the galaxy. Even if no one answers, we cannot give up." Sereth nodded slowly. "Very well," he said. "Prepare the final transmission. Let the galaxy know our situation. Let them know we are in danger." In the control room, Lyra and her friend Jalen worked quickly. The communication machines were old and fragile, but they still worked. They entered coordinates, recorded the failing reactor levels, and wrote a simple, honest message. It was not a plea for gifts or weapons. It was a plea for mercy. "We are Aloran. Our world is dying. We are fragile and weak. Please, help us if you can." They sent the message across every frequency, hoping for a reply. For days, the machines repeated the signal over and over. Lyra stayed by the console, watching the stars outside the cracked dome. She could see faint red light from the dying star, painting the city in strange colors. Every day, the reactors ticked closer to failure, and every day, hope seemed smaller. Then, unexpectedly, a signal returned. It was weak, almost impossible to understand. It came from a system the old maps called Earth, a planet few had visited, and most had avoided. The signal was strange, noisy, and hard to translate, but one phrase came through clearly: "We hear you. We hear you." The council stared at the screen. No one expected a response. Lyra felt her heart jump. "They heard us," she whispered. Sereth frowned. "From where?" "Earth? That planet is dangerous. It is known as a death world. No one from there comes out alive easily." Lyra's eyes shone. "But they replied, someone from there is answering us. Maybe they can help." The council members shook their heads. Fear and worry filled the hall. "We do not know these beings," said a council member. "They could be worse than the raiders. They could enslave us, experiment on us, or destroy us." Lyra shook her head. "We have no choice left. The raiders will take us anyway if we do nothing. If anyone can help, it is them. We must respond." Sereth looked at his daughter. He saw the courage in her eyes. The same courage he had seen in his people long ago. When the world was green and strong. He made the decision. Send them our coordinates. Tell them everything. We ask for help. That is all we can do. Jalen typed the reply carefully. "We are Aloran. Our world is dying. We have little time. Please come if you can. We trust you." They pressed send. The message left the dome and moved into the dark space between stars. Lyra sat quietly, watching the faint blinking of the communication lights. Days passed. Nothing came. Then, one morning, a new message appeared. It was clearer than before, almost readable. A human voice, simple and calm, came through the translator. My name is Karen Lewis. We are humans from Earth. We want to help, the council gasped. Lyra felt her stomach tighten. The word human sounded strange and heavy. She had read about humans in old texts. They were called Deathworlders because they survived harsh worlds. They were strong, stubborn, and fearless. The idea of them coming for fragile Alorians was both terrifying and exciting. Sareth rubbed his face. We must be careful. We do not know them. They could destroy us instead of helping. Lyra's heart beat faster. But if we do nothing, we will die. This is our only chance. The council debated through the night. Some said to block the humans, to avoid danger. Others said it was madness to trust anyone from a death world. But Lyra argued with calm, steady words. She reminded them that they had tried all other options. They had waited helplessly while the galaxy ignored their calls. Now, at least, someone answered. Finally, Sareth nodded. We will trust them. We will accept their help. Jalen and Lyra sent the final coordinates again, along with details about the planet's condition and the remaining time before the star would flare uncontrollably. They waited, holding their breath, as the days moved slowly. Outside the dome, the red light of the dying star made everything seem strange and unreal. Dust storms whipped through the barren cities. Buildings creaked and groaned under the weight of neglect, but inside, Lyra felt a spark of hope. Someone was coming, someone strong, someone who did not give up. She walked through the hallways of the city, looking at people she had grown up with. Children played quietly, unaware of the danger. Elders moved slowly, resting often. Everyone was fragile, in ways that humans could not understand. Lyra imagined the humans arriving. She wondered how they would act, what they would look like, how they would touch their world. And then, one quiet morning, the sky changed. A tiny dot appeared far above the horizon, moving quickly toward the planet. Alorians watched in disbelief. It was not a small scout. It was a ship, and it was coming straight for them. Its metal surface was rough, patched, and covered with signs of wear. It was clearly built for hard use, not beauty. The city sirens went off. People ran to watch. The dot grew larger, then split into shapes that looked like wings and engines. Dust swirled around the landing site as the ship descended. Lyra held her hands tightly together, her eyes wide. She did not know what to feel. Fear? Excitement? Relief? The landing ramp lowered, and figures appeared. Humans stepped out in sealed suits, moving with confidence in the higher gravity. The first human removed her helmet. Lyra could see her face clearly. Her eyes were tired, but steady. Her expression was calm. She smiled, just slightly, and waved. My name is Karen Lewis, the human said. We are here to help. For the first time in months, the people of Alarin felt something they had not felt in a long time. Hope. Sareth motioned for the humans to come inside the dome. Lyra stepped forward, heart pounding. She would be their guide. She would show them the city, the people, the dying world that still held beauty in small places. She would explain how fragile everything was, and she would pray that the humans could see what no one else had. That Aloran was worth saving. The first contact had been made. The last days of Alarin were beginning, but now they would not be spent in despair. Somewhere among the humans from Earth, help had arrived, and for the first time in years, the people of Alarin did not wait helplessly. They watched the sky, and they waited for the Deathworlders of Earth to step forward. Part 2. Meeting the humans. The humans had landed outside the largest dome of Aloran. The dust from the dry, dying soil swirled around the landing ramp. People ran to see the newcomers, their small bodies trembling in the higher gravity. The humans moved slowly and steadily, their suits making soft sounds as they stepped onto the ground. They were taller, stronger, and denser than any Elorian. Muscles showed even through their suits, and their movements were precise, calm, and confident. At the front of the group was Karen Lewis. She removed her helmet carefully, showing a face with tired eyes and a soft but determined expression. Behind her walked Daniel Price, a quiet engineer with steady hands, and Lisa Carter, a medical officer with sharp eyes and a calm voice. Lyra watched them closely. Their presence filled the air with a strange sense of strength. The people of Alarin had never seen anyone like them. Sereth, the council leader, stepped forward. His thin hands shook slightly as he waved for the humans to follow him into the dome. "Welcome to Alarin," he said. "We are honored to meet you. Please, come inside. You must be tired." Karen nodded politely. "Thank you," she said. "We are here to help. Tell us what we need to know." Her voice was calm, but there was strength behind it. Lyra noticed how she did not look around fearfully. She looked at the people, at the city, and seemed to accept the danger without hesitation. Inside the dome, the council had prepared a meeting room. The walls were cracked, and the lights flickered slightly. But it was safe enough for discussion. The Elorians and humans sat around a long, polished table. Lyra noticed how the humans adjusted themselves easily to the room's higher gravity. Where Elorians strained, the humans seemed at home. The translator began its work, turning the humans' words into the Elorian language. Daniel spoke first, showing holos of Earth. Storms covered continents. Oceans had waves taller than towers. Forests were full of dangerous predators. Deserts were vast and scorching. Mountains were jagged and cold. The Elorians gasped. Their world had been fragile and mild for centuries. Humans had lived and thrived in places far harsher than this dying planet. Karen spoke slowly. "Our world is called Earth. It is not easy to survive there. People learn to live in danger from childhood. We grow strong because we have to. We do not avoid risk. We face it. And we adapt." Lyra felt a strange mix of fear and hope. The humans were strong, far stronger than any Elorian. But they were calm. They were not angry. They were not cruel. They only wanted to help. Sereth asked carefully. "But your numbers, your ships, they are small. How can you help a whole planet?" Karen smiled faintly. "We do not have a fleet, but we have experience. We know how to work in dangerous conditions. We can build systems to protect your atmosphere. We can stabilize your reactors. We can prepare your cities to survive the star's flares. It will not be easy, but it is possible." The council members whispered among themselves. Some shook their heads. "Impossible," one said. "The star will flare before they can do anything. We cannot survive their attempts." Lyra stood up. "We have no choice," she said. "If we do nothing, we die. If we wait for someone else, they will not come. The humans are here. They are willing to help. We must trust them." The discussion ended with Sereth's nod. He looked at the humans. "Then, you will have our cooperation. Tell us what to do." Karen's eyes brightened slightly. "Thank you. We will start immediately. We will need volunteers from your people. We will need access to all machines and resources you can spare. And most importantly, we will need your courage." In the following days, humans and Elorians began working together. Daniel led teams into the broken factories and ruined labs. He examined old machines and tools, deciding which could be repaired and which could be rebuilt. He worked with quiet focus, and the Elorians watched in awe. He lifted heavy parts by himself, adjusted unstable machinery, and repaired complex systems using nothing but clever tricks and simple tools. Where Elorians had seen rubble, he saw opportunity. Lisa began her work with the people. She trained volunteers in basic strength and health exercises. She taught them how to lift safely, how to move quickly, how to handle exhaustion without injury. "Humans grow up learning to survive hard conditions," she explained. "You can do the same if you practice. You do not have to be born strong. You can learn it." The younger Elorians, including Jalen, eagerly joined her drills. Their small bodies struggled at first, but the humans encouraged them patiently. Karen moved among the groups, giving advice quietly. She explained plans for atmospheric stabilizers and mirror arrays, showing how even the smallest contribution could make a difference. High above the planet, the humans began deploying parts of their plan. Daniel controlled drones and small satellites, repairing old Alorian orbital devices, and attaching mirror frames. Every frame was heavy and dangerous. One misstep could send it crashing into the dome below. A sudden gust of wind nearly destroyed a stabilizer, and Daniel personally piloted a small shuttle to push it into place, risking his life in the process. On the ground, Lisa organized medical teams. Even with all precautions, accidents happened. Fingers were cut, backs were strained, and young volunteers fainted from exhaustion. She treated everyone with care, calming fear and pain. Her presence was firm but gentle. The Alorians began to trust her. And slowly, their fear of the humans faded. Then came the raiders. A small fleet appeared in orbit, drawn by the distress signals and the large human ship on the planet. Their ships were sleek, fast, and armed with weapons designed to destroy cities. They sent a message demanding slaves, threatening to bombard Alorin if their demands were not met. Karen did not flinch. She responded firmly, "We will not give you anything. If you fire on this planet, we will hunt you to the ends of the galaxy." Her voice was calm, but every word carried strength. The raiders laughed. "You? A few ships? You cannot threaten us. You are nothing." Karen smiled faintly. "We are not nothing. You will see." The humans used tactics the Alorians could barely understand. They hid drones in asteroids, sent false signals to confuse raider sensors, and laid mines in the paths raiders would take. One ship exploded in the asteroid belt, disabled completely. The rest hesitated, unsure of what else might await them. Then they fled, leaving Alorin untouched. The Alorians stared in disbelief. They had expected negotiation or surrender. Instead, they saw humans act with precise strength, risk, and strategy. There was no cruelty, no arrogance, only skill and determination. Lyra felt her respect for them grow. These humans were unlike any beings she had ever known. After the raiders fled, work continued without pause. The mirror frames were adjusted, stabilizers installed, and fusion reactors repaired and reinforced. Daniel and his team moved tirelessly, often working day and night. Lisa and Karen oversaw volunteers, teaching them to move safely and to watch for dangers they had never imagined. Slowly, the Alorians began to change. They learned to carry heavier loads, to stand through fatigue, and to work under pressure. Where fear had once dominated, determination began to grow. They discovered strength they did not know existed within themselves. Lyra watched Jalen lift a heavy beam without trembling, smiling as he placed it into position. For the first time, she realized the humans had done more than bring tools and machines. They had brought courage. Every day, Karen reminded the council and volunteers that there was still much work to do. Your world is fragile, yes, but it is not finished. We will help you survive if you will help yourselves. Work together. Watch each other. And do not give up. By the end of the first month, the first protective systems were in place. The mirror network could reflect some of the star's radiation, and the new reactors provided steady power. The city domes were reinforced. Alorians began to move more freely, no longer hiding in fear. Lyra stood at the edge of the dome one evening, watching the red light of the dying star. She could see humans moving across the plaza, checking machines, speaking to volunteers, and laughing quietly. Their strength, calmness, and determination filled her with hope. She realized that the galaxy might have ignored Alorin, but humans had not. They had come when no one else would. The council gathered again to discuss the progress. Sareth looked at Karen and said, "You and your people have done more than I imagined. We owe you our lives." Karen shook her head. "We do not expect thanks. We only do what must be done. Your people are strong too. Do not forget that. Strength is not just muscles. It is courage, will, and the desire to survive. For the first time in years, the city felt alive. Dust still swirled in the streets, and the red star still threatened the world. But for the first time, the Elorians did not feel helpless. They had allies. They had humans who understood danger and refused to give up. They had hope. And as the night fell over the cracked domes, Lyra looked to the sky. Somewhere, far away, across the stars, the humans had left Earth to come for them. They had crossed dangerous space, ignored fear, and arrived on a dying world. The Deathworlders of Earth had come. Alarin was not saved yet. But the first step had been taken. And that step had changed everything. Part 3. The impossible work. The days on Aloran became long and difficult. The humans worked constantly, and the Elorians struggled to keep up. But they began to learn. Every morning, Lyra would wake before sunrise and walk through the city, watching both humans and Elorians prepare for the day. The air was still thin and bitter, but the sense of purpose made it feel lighter. Daniel Price led teams into the ruined factories and laboratories. The old machines had been left to rust for years. Broken wires hung like vines, panels were cracked, and dust covered everything. Most Elorians looked at the equipment and shook their heads. It seemed useless. But Daniel saw potential. He lifted heavy parts, adjusted broken machinery, and repaired systems that no one had used in decades. He worked with a quiet determination. Every motion was careful but strong. Elorians watched as he moved large metal frames alone, using simple tools and clever levers. He never complained, even when pieces fell or systems failed. Lyra noticed how people began to follow his example, learning to work without fear of failure. Lisa Carter focused on the health and training of the Elorian volunteers. She taught them to strengthen their bodies, stretch carefully, and breathe properly. Many Elorians had never done manual labor for long periods. Their muscles would cramp and their joints would ache. Lisa's voice was calm but firm. "Pain is natural," she said. "Do not fear it. Work carefully. Watch your friends. Help each other. That is strength." Jalen, eager and small, tried to lift a heavy beam one morning. He failed the first time and fell to the ground. Lisa came quickly, checking him for injuries. Then she helped him adjust his grip and stance. On the second try, he lifted it high and placed it in position. A small cheer rose from nearby volunteers. Lyra smiled quietly. "They are learning," she whispered. In orbit, Daniel's team began assembling the mirror frames. These mirrors were designed to reflect the energy of Alarin's dying star away from the cities below. Each frame was heavy and dangerous. One mistake could send it crashing into the dome or explode in orbit. Daniel used drones and small shuttles to guide the frames, adjusting angles carefully. One day, a sudden windstorm almost destroyed a frame. It spun dangerously close to the dome. Without hesitation, Daniel piloted a shuttle and pushed it back into place, risking his life. The Elorians gasped at his courage. Lyra felt a mixture of fear and admiration. Humans were willing to risk themselves for others in ways she had never seen before. Meanwhile, Lisa organized medical teams. Injuries happened daily. Fingers were cut, backs strained, and young volunteers fainted from exhaustion. Lisa treated each patient with care, checking for small signs of infection or fatigue. She taught the Elorians how to prevent injuries, how to rest without losing progress, and how to watch each other carefully. Slowly, the people began to adapt. Karen Lewis oversaw all operations. She spoke calmly but with authority, coordinating the humans and Elorians. She made clear plans and divided tasks efficiently. Lyra noticed that Karen rarely raised her voice, yet, when she spoke, everyone listened. Her confidence was steady, never faltering, even in the face of danger. Then, one day, a raider fleet appeared in orbit. They had tracked the original distress signals and now wanted to claim slaves or destroy the planet. Their ships were sleek, armed, and fast. They sent a message demanding obedience, threatening to fire on the cities if ignored. Karen stepped forward calmly. "We will not give you anything. If you attack this planet, we will respond," she said. The voice was calm, but there was a quiet power behind it. The raiders laughed. "A few ships? You cannot threaten us. You are nothing." Daniel and his team acted quickly. They used small drones to hide among asteroids, laid mines in dangerous paths, and sent false signals to confuse the raider sensors. One ship hit a mine and was destroyed. The others hesitated, unsure of what else might be waiting. Then, as uncertainty grew, the remaining ships retreated. The Elorians were shocked. They had expected diplomacy or surrender. Instead, humans had used strategy, risk, and clever thinking to protect the planet. Lyra realized that humans did not need to be larger or faster. Their strength came from courage, training, and intelligence. After the raiders fled, work continued without pause. Mirror frames were completed, orbital stabilizers adjusted, and fusion reactors repaired and reinforced. Daniel and his team worked day and night, fixing systems, moving heavy parts, and teaching Elorians how to maintain them. Lisa's health and training sessions grew longer and more advanced. She taught the Elorians about endurance, careful lifting, and teamwork. She showed them how to move in dangerous areas safely. Slowly, the people began to trust their own bodies. Fear began to fade. The Elorians started to notice changes in themselves. Jalen lifted beams he could not before. Workers carried heavy parts without fatigue. Small children watched the humans and tried to imitate their calm, confident movements. Lyra felt pride for her people. They were learning not only to survive but to be strong. Karen reminded the council daily that there was still much to do. "Your world is fragile, yes, but it is not finished. We can help you survive if you help yourselves. Work together, watch each other, and do not give up." Her words were simple, but they carried hope. One evening, after a long day, Lyra walked to the edge of the dome. She looked up at the red star. It was weaker now, but still dangerous. Dust swirled in the streets below, and the air was heavy with the smell of metal and sweat. Yet, the city felt alive. The humans moved among the people, checking machines, giving instructions, and quietly encouraging them. Lyra thought about the humans. They had left a dangerous world to come to a dying planet. They had not been forced by duty, empire, or reward. They had come because they chose to help. She realized that their strength was not only in their bodies or knowledge, it was in their will, their refusal to give up. In the council hall, Sareth watched the humans with a mixture of respect and fear. "They are not like anyone we have known," he said quietly. "They face danger as if it is ordinary. Yet they come for us, knowing we are fragile. We owe them our lives." Karen did not seek praise. She moved among the volunteers, checking their work, fixing problems, and quietly teaching. Lyra watched her, understanding now what the term Deathworlder truly meant. It was not a place. It was a mindset. It was courage, persistence, and the willingness to act when others would wait and die. The days passed. Dust storms still raged, and small accidents occurred. But humans and Elorians continued side by side. The mirror network in orbit grew larger and more precise. Fusion reactors hummed steadily. The domes were reinforced, and protective measures were in place. Lyra realized that this was more than a simple rescue. The humans were teaching the Elorians how to survive. They were showing them how to be strong, how to endure, and how to face danger without fear. The city, once fragile and quiet, now had energy, hope, and determination. One night, as the red star set behind the mountains, Lyra looked at the humans walking across the plaza. Daniel was checking a machine. Lisa was instructing a small group of volunteers, and Karen stood quietly, observing. They had not left the city. They had chosen to stay, to fight alongside fragile Elorians against a star that could destroy everything. The Elorians had waited helplessly for help, abandoned by the galaxy. Now, with humans on their side, they were learning a new truth. Survival was possible. Courage could be taught, and even a dying world could have hope if someone refused to give up, Lyra whispered to herself, watching the sky. They came. The Deathworlders of Earth came for us. For the first time in years, she did not feel fear. She felt something stronger, hope, strength, and the belief that Alarin might survive after all.